Fast forward, any come out channel so aha AG Politics Avenue. Podcast of the training make headlines. Ni jembe na it be a petit aboboano. Bibia ubiano. Best say ubitimi. I subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so share na after friends answer into me and be mu better than so nyame inshallah. Ani di ma ye mo in real political highways ni. Ija dem a enya asem kutokra. So be kaya emre bi atwam. Afenyo markings it mean Ibreview Parliament about a yekin of a reatta. Sure say papa no the home infano. Na so body edina hoarding a channel. Omo edino a bed ebeba. The CCID or Amonia or some ARA Emma Parliament age to Musa. Any busa Afenyo markings say maybe I come on some other Kayano. CCIano Akwakusi say. Unia Meno Eka say a raising a holder of heated argument or Parliament. Ni ano di ma woman die ke ko mo hoye jeni ko num yemongram ye hwen ye ko ani die ba AG Politics Avenue ya mi shawo nyo kase so wajemre ewa yen konsimini.
Thanks for choosing us. This afternoon we start from Parliament, where the minority leader Afenyo has been accused of failing to deliver his promise to ensure the return of the former finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta to face prosecution over the infamous GRA SML contract, the National Cathedral project, and other initiatives under the erstwhile administration which have been flagged for impropriety. The minority and the majority leaders on the floor of Parliament on Friday debated the delayed return of Ken Ofori-Atta to the country to face accountability. It follows a request by the local government minister, Ahmed Ibrahim, who sought answers from the minority leader on the whereabouts of the former finance minister, which later drew in the minority and majority leaders. This is what transpired on the floor.
I need us to solicit an answer from an honorable minority leader. He gave us authoritative information that by February 18th, the honorable former finance minister was going to be in Ghana. So I'm saying, where is the former finance minister? I thought you were going to tell us his whereabouts. Ministers of finance who have occupied that office after their tenure, they remain in this country. Where is our former finance minister? Where is he?
The records would bear me out that indeed, when the respected former finance minister had issue with the OSP, which mattered the majority leader himself, came to apologize. He used the dispatch box to apologize on behalf of government for the mishandling of the whole matter. We as leaders owed a responsibility and a duty in the matter. I, right here, indicated that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta had written to the OSP through his lawyers that he was going to be in the country on or before May, not July. This was in February. Mr. Speaker, in the letter, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta again indicated that he had been booked for surgery. When the time came and his doctors further advised that the surgery will require some healing process, Mr. Speaker, he again wrote, this time not only a letter by his lawyers, the letter from his doctors. It is not a matter of I resigning or making a promise and failing to honor that. Let's put things in proper context. All I want Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim to understand is that when it comes to ill health, our medicals, all of us may go through it one way or the other. If a man is going through a serious medical condition, how many of us will be bold to disclose our medical record? But the man has disclosed his medical record. Mr. Speaker, that hospital where he is receiving treatment is a renowned medical hospital in the United States. Let's be fair to Ken Ofori-Atta. Let's be fair. It can be you tomorrow.
Giving an impression that members on this side are insensitive to the medical condition of Ken Ofori-Atta. That is the impression you have sought to give. Mr. Speaker, Ken Ofori-Atta was very sick in this country. You could see the sickness in his face. By that time, it was sweet to be a finance minister. It was sweet to be a finance minister. In spite of the ill health, he persisted and insisted on remaining in this country as a finance minister. How come that suddenly, because today he is being sought after by the law enforcement agencies, he cannot live in this country and is claiming illness? He was sick when he was finance minister. We all saw it. He was sick.
Honorable members.
While still in Parliament, the minority in the House is calling on the Minister for Local Government to immediately suspend the Brim Central Municipal Chief Executive, Solomon Kusi Brako, and initiate an independent investigation into allegations of extortion involving illegal miners. The caucus claims that the MC is still facilitating illegal mining activities by collecting 15,000 Ghana cedis from some illegal miners and subsequently freeing them, while a practice, they say, emboldens perpetrators and weakens the national fight against galamsey. Kusi Brako is further accused of reporting miners who fail to pay what the minority describes as the required amount to NIMOS for punitive measures. Addressing journalists, the minority chief whip, Frank Anodompre, condemned the alleged conduct and called for immediate action against the MCE.
Consistency. There's a lot. We spoke to this matter earlier on about the MC, Mr. Solomon Kusi, the MC for Oda, who is illegally taking money from galamseyers. And he claimed to be charging them because they are engaging in galamsey. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? He is supposed to be the representative of the president. He represents the president in that municipality. And I don't know which part of the bylaws. I have looked at the Oda Municipal Assembly, their bylaws. There is no bylaw that allows him to charge illegal miners a fine. So he will charge them, take the money into his pocket, and then free them. And this is what is happening. Unfortunate on the side of Mr. Solomon Kusi, the very people he charged and took 15,000 each from them, he went ahead to report some of them, I don't know why, maybe they didn't pay enough, to NIMOS. And then NIMOS had gone in to attack them. And the people have started talking that, after all, we pay some monies to you. First of all, I think that I want to call on the Minister for Local Government. If this government is serious about the fight against galamsey, they must demonstrate it. And this is one of their litmus tests. They must demonstrate it. First of all, I call on the local government minister. He must suspend Mr. Solomon Kusi immediately and pave way for an independent investigation to this matter. Mr. Solomon Kusi, who is Municipal Chief Executive for Oda Municipality, must step aside. And we are calling for a full-scale investigation into this matter.
The caucus is also calling on the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources to provide weekly briefings to Parliament on concrete measures being taken to deal with illegal mining.
I was very careful in choice of words and emphasize the need for us to establish a certain working template where every week, minimum once, we should have the Minister for Lands or the ministry, so that it could be based on the availability of the minister. If the minister is not available, his deputy could come and apprise the House. Because I think that we need to take this fight beyond the ordinary. There is one litmus test, and it has to do with the turbidity of the waters. If the waters are getting bad, if the land is being destroyed, our lands are being destroyed, and especially now that we are told, scientific report, to the effect that heavy metals are being found on our dining table as a result of food items coming from these mining areas. I think it's a matter of life and death. And it clearly also tells us that something is not being done right. And we, as a parliament and as a representative of the people, we have an oversight powers. we have oversight powers to be able to subpoena the minister to come.
Well, that's away from Parliament now. Let's move to another issue that is...
I couldn't finish watching, and I immediately forwarded it to the CID to help us locate. And then we've been working with them for all this while to ensure that we bring the perpetrator to book. And it's been back and forth, and I think the way we were all outraged, the same way the impact on Harriet, you can't describe it. She's so traumatized. At this level, you might think that she'll get used to the abuse. But this one, I think stripping her naked and it's going viral, it's a bit more traumatic for her. And so it's not easy for her. But I hope that with the psychosocial support and other social protection support that will be given her, she'll be able to overcome.
And we know that you have stepped in, like you mentioned earlier, when you saw the video, you forwarded it to the CID. But as a ministry, what has been done so far?
As a ministry, you know, this falls under DV, and then the care for the children is under the social welfare. And so for starting with DV, yesterday they moved the lady to safety, and this morning the police went for her to assist with the investigations, and they've started the psychoanalysis, and then they will know the needed support to give her. And so we took her to professional shelter, and once we are done with that, it doesn't end there. The social welfare is trying to get custody of the children, and it's been hide and seek with the family. So let me put it out there: anybody who has information on the whereabouts of the children, just like they were benevolent enough to let us have information on what was happening to Harriet, we plead with them to do the same and let us locate the children, because 0 to 8 years is the formative years. And from the narration and what we gather so far, they've been so exposed to abuse, and they need to go through, you know, some support so that they don't find abuse as normal. Otherwise, we'll have a cycle repeating itself with the children. And it's not the best. The environment we found, yesterday I was there myself, I was in the home myself, and it wasn't the best of situation. Those around the woman seem to have the same orientation, that when a woman talks too much, she has to be beaten. Wow. Yes.
In the same home?
Yes. And if they are watching me, they know what I'm talking about. And so it will be difficult to allow these children to grow up in that environment, especially without the guidance of a mom. So we are working hard to make sure that we get the appropriate support for the children. Apparently, they are not even allowing the children to go to school. And so today, they were not even in school. So we'll do our best to protect the children. We are by law mandated to do that, and so we'll do exactly that. Aside that, the ministry will also go through the processes of reinstating her. So economic empowerment and other supports that will come, social intervention that will come to her. When we do an assessment with her, we will work with her lead, what she desires to do. We'll give her options where she's a bit blank. We can give options, and then she will go in with what she wants, and then we'll support her to reinstate her into society.
Talk more on, and I'm particularly excited that you did mention that after whatever process she's going through is exhausted, you're going to empower her economically, because one of the things that we learned or have come to understand from an eyewitness is that this is a woman who was denied by her husband or supposed husband of any economic empowerment. And so for me, I am particularly excited. But you also did mention that you have met her, you've interacted with her, not only her, people in her family. What is she like? What is Harriet like?
Oh, Harriet, I would say from what I observed and from what the witnesses around said of her is a very industrious person. And so one of the things she confessed and those around confessed lured her into following the man was the fact that he was going to help her economically set up, which she's been denied for years. Even though the initial stages, what he promised, he did it, but only to withdraw it after a while. I would say that it's a brief encounter, and so whatever I'm saying is subjective. So I also gathered that she's quite intelligent and articulate. That is what I gathered about Harriet. Yes.
Did she tell you how she met this man?
Yes, and there were witnesses who confirmed. I mean, they met at her place, a former place of work, and so I think everybody confessed that her physical appearance has deteriorated. And there are so many scars with stories of abuse and violence and all that. She's 32 years. If you see her elder sister, you will see that the elder sister looks younger, much younger than her. And everybody around her says that she was a beautiful woman. Even now you see she's a pretty lady. Yeah.
And by any chance, did she recount to you what specifically triggered this, cycle of abuse for her and this man?
I think, with these things, they are there. They give us the warning signs. Sometimes, except that we are so much in love that we make excuses for each and every sign that we see. But the red flags are usually there. And so you will see the person will do something, you give an excuse, and then it repeats itself. And then when the actual physical violence starts, in fact, the worst one is the emotional ones. Psychologically, they deprive you of these, and you make excuses for every little one of them. And then when the physical abuse starts, they will come back with gifts, apologize, and you think that, it is okay, and then they go back to the beating again. These things over and over again, there's been studies to show that they never end. So when you see the first red flag, it's better you pay attention to it and take a decision.
So currently, where is Harriet?
Without saying specifically where she is, I would say that she's safe in a shelter.
And so you did mention that she's going through certain processes. Do you want to rehash on it? What specific, I know that you say that, have you given her any counselors? Are they talking to her?
Yeah, the place we took her does a lot of professional work. They do the assessment. And so this morning, before she was even given to the police, the police had to wait for them to do their initial professional assessment before they allowed her to.
It's good you mentioned the police bit, because there also this morning there were reports that she was arrested, and so we needed some clarity on it, because some portals were reporting that she had been picked up by the police.
There was an agreement yesterday. It was too late because they need, according to the police, they need her to assist with the investigations. And so you can't hold her for longer than necessary. And so this morning, like I said, we had an agreement that yesterday was late. So this morning they can go and have access to her. And so once the protection is there, I think it is okay. She's not under any arrest. She's not under arrest.
Thank you so much for clarifying. Let's talk about the suspect or the perpetrator in this case. We know that he has been remanded by, a court. But as a ministry, what are we also doing to ensure that we get justice. We follow this, the story to the latter and ensure that, justice is served.
This story, like other stories, let me say, are of great concern to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And it will not be in anybody's interest to do any other thing than serve justice, true justice. If anyone tries, I think that the president will not be happy with it. Anything to do with violence, abuse, especially of vulnerable people, he doesn't take lightly to that. And so, like many others that has come to his attention, this one is no exception. And so every stakeholder.
We ain't somehow do team course watching and so I'm not so Jim Wow, that's an over the Indian Nubi Edumiani. If a sample realm, now Yasumo Kwan, some Kosokra. Aha, politics, Aven.